LPL's most played mid laner is actually Sett, so definitely could be something that's going towards Angel. On the opposite side though, Hacker looks like he's going to take the Udyr portion of the Udyr Rumble matchup. And then I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and lock in something towards like ShiauC in that bottom lane, or even for Smlz mid. I mean, you can just take the Lulu here and look for that Lulu Kog'Maw.
An option, as Smlz would certainly be quite happy with that one. No Lulu ban came on through, and realistically, without the Lulu, can you run a Kog'Maw? So that could be an option, but the problem is, if you do lock it in so early in your draft, you index very heavily into one style, and I feel like Varus definitely more flexible. You can change the different version of Varus that you're playing with your build, depending on what they draft. So I can understand why they'd go for this instead.
I mean, it has pretty much been exclusively the lethality Varus, so I think that's what we're probably going to see, but it does leave options open here, of course. Like, you can start to flex about into like a more poke orientated pick. The Varus is relatively well in team fights as well, so you're not really committing to any style, whereas for Suning, we've already kind of seen, okay, cool, no more flexibility here. Bane is going to be taking the Camille, SofM for the Rumble, and then you're going to have this Sett going into the mid lane. Actually, it looks like it might be the Gwen going up top, but still, like, this has been kind of a pretty standard Suning draft so far. I mean, the Gwen has been something Bin has already shown on and looks really, really good. But at least with Angel taking the Sett into the mid lane, we may get a little bit more roaming out for him, so he can actually facilitate Bin in that top side of the map.
Yeah, and hey, look, we get to see Bin on the Camille. It's something that's beautiful. The Equalizer with the Hextech Ultimatum is a terrifying combo to have to deal with. And ShiauC may, well, go towards the Kench himself. He's been unbenched, as it were. And it will mean Smlz can be safe in that bottom side. You can play it lethality still. You can play it on hit still. We'll see where they go from here. But over towards up now with the bans for the second phase. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some bans maybe on towards supports, or maybe even just remove things like the Ezreal.
Well, I think definitely for Ultra Prime, it's about looking towards the... I was actually going to say the AD carries. I think he could have done a lot more work with banning things like the Ezreal, as he talked about. Even things like
is known for Ezreal, right? That was what he made a name for himself on.
Yeah, so I thought we would actually see a lot more attention that way, but they're going to start looking at On instead. So if you're taking away the Rakan, maybe something like the Nautilus as well, which is just such a pain to deal with for these like short-range AD carries that are pretty immobile. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that one ban away. Suning looking at mid laners that can try and match the roam, it seems, from the Sett. So getting rid of the Rise, something very good that can actually keep Sett in lane, and maybe even something like the Twisted Fate come out here against her.
See what this last pan is, whether it's going to go to support, whether it goes towards AD carry as well. It is going to be a Kai'Sa taken away from Huanfeng, who doesn't seem phased as he stretches it out on the screen. Now, what I will say is, with only one support man, On has the option here of going for a Blitzcrank. Now, it's not super popular. In fact, I'm not sure it's been played this split at all, but it is one of the classic Tahm Kench support counters. It's very good against Varus as well. This would be the perfect game for a Blitzcrank. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Honestly, I think for Suning, I think you just go with like Nautilus and maybe even Ezreal, and you can try and have On roam a little bit. If you're not comfortable with that, you're kind of putting yourself down into maybe something like the Senna or something along these lines, which I don't think kind of Suning are looking for here. But look, we'll have to see. Huanfeng also a very strong Jhin player, so maybe they just want utility here from the bot side to enable the kind of bruiser top that Suning are looking at right now.
See Volibear locked in for Hacker here, or in fact, no, that's going to go up to ZS, I'd assume, as we do have the Udyr there. And we'll see what Suning do want to lock in for their bottom lane. Also, quick hover on Draven there. Quick mention, Huanfeng is a beast on Draven. I think it's something that's not well known. He is like an old school Draven player, but the Ezreal expected does come on through. It's one of his most played champions. It's certainly one of his best champions when we've seen him in competitive. And then you can expect a roaming support to come out alongside that Ezreal.
Yeah, you'd imagine so, although, as I said, we were already kind of talking about before, On not the greatest on those roams. It does make sense, obviously, because Ezreal is going to be totally fine by himself, but haven't been totally impressed with his roams. I feel like they kind of are more of a detriment. So it looks like they are going to go with the Braum here. Go for this insanely safe bot lane. Not really worry about anything too much. And then just allow SofM to play heavily through Angel and Bin on this top side of the map.
Alright, so playing super safe bot, playing weak side bot, and SofM and Angel potentially looking to dive up top lane alongside Bin. And over now to see what Irma is going to lock in. Surely not a control mage. It's 2021 summer, mate. That is so 2021 spring. Irma just brings out the Viktor. This is something we've not seen in a little bit, and I have to say, I'm not sure how well it does against Sett. I mean, Dagda, maybe you can enlighten me here, but I feel like Sett can kind of just withstand a lot of your poke and just clear the way.
Yeah, you've nailed it. For a lot of it is like, the thing that Sett struggles against is consistent damage, because it means that he can't really get access to the regen coming through from his passive. Yes, Viktor will get control of the matchup level 1 to 3, but after that, you start to see Sett becoming more of an issue. Now, I like the Viktor in the sense of, hey, look, Suning have a composition that is going to be pretty easy to split up in a lot of scenarios where, hey, you can try and zone off Angel on this Sett in a team fight, you know, try and deal with the Camille who's in your backline, then worry about the rest of them thanks to the gravity field Viktor can put up. But I still think you're giving a lot of tools here to Suning if we get to see Angel starting to move and roam. But certainly with this Sett, I feel like he's got every option to do so.
Let's see, I am curious though. This feels like a bit of a different look from Suning, right? With Angel playing bruisers in the mid lane instead of the classic control mages that we're so used to seeing from him. We do get to see Huanfeng and his classic Ezreal. We get to see Bin, who we've seen Bin take over games on Camille countless times. Does feel like the pieces are in place for Suning to have a good performance here and show that they can come back from the issues that they've been having so far this split. On the other side of the board, Ultra Prime with a bit of a weird composition. Very late game focused, very much about scaling up towards the late stages of the game. Which, I feel like the early game would have been the best part to try and punish Suning. So perhaps a bit of a misread on the opponent on this one. We'll have to wait and see though as the game comes in. As, you know, the Varus, it looks like it might actually be a lethality Varus though. So maybe a bit more mid-game presence than I was thinking. I was expecting maybe an on-hit Varus.
Yeah, you still got like a pretty strong mid game coming through Ultra Prime, right? Because you could even see something like the Divine Sunder coming on the Volibear in the top lane, do really, really well against the 3 heavy bruisers that are on the other side. Sets up for a pretty nice spike, especially when you're looking at Varus, who will finish off the Predator's Claw. Actually, I saw a lot of questions in chat about this the other day when the Predator's Claw was built, so just to give people a heads up, Predator's Claw gives the highest lethality in the lethality items, which is why you pick the Predator's Claw. Although the Duskblade does give you a little bit of the invisibility and stuff, the raw damage and stats that the Predator's Claw offer is why people build it. Plus, you can get utility out of certain circumstances. From the Predator's Claw, I actually saw a really creative one from Reckless over in the LEC where he like Predator's Claw through a minion to get in range to get the Chains of Corruption off. So you can do some creative stuff, but it is just the better option from a raw damage point of view. I
will say that all of the Prowler's Claw Varus plays, they're just recycled Zoe plays. This is just what you do when you get the Prowler's Claw from the Spell Thief off of a minion, right? And then you use it onto the back minion, get your bubble, and then make the play. We've seen Rookie do it 100 times. We've seen Knight do it 100 times. Like, it's recycled Zoe plays just on a different champion, I'm telling you, man. Let's talk about these teams, though, and how they're going to start things off. Because SofM and Hacker both starting on the bottom side, so we could have a bit of a skirmish in the top lane a little bit later on.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a little bit more pressure coming through from Suning, though. Angel actually, despite what I thought, is actually getting full control over this mid lane. I thought Irma would have enough damage with the Q to try and bust through that, but you can see Angel kind of just shrugging it off. The Doran's shield and also the innate regen of Sett makes it incredibly difficult for Sett to try and push, for Sett to get pushed out of lane. It's level 3 hit, he's totally fine. So now you'll actually still have a little bit more control here for Suning, although Bin getting pushed in by ZS maybe gives the opportunity for ZS to room down.
And actually running with the fleet footwork as well, so that he can ignore even more of that pain that Irma's going to try and throw his way. So nice stuff so far from Angel, as he does have to pop his pot. We'll see if SofM does want to make a play up towards the top side here. Scuttle will be spawning any second now. Drops the Sky Reward, hits it perfectly. Nicely done there. And Hacker's going to walk over that one. TP here from ZS. So minor item advantage in favor of up, but I don't think it's going to matter as SofM's already got the crab.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a major difference here for ZS. Like, yes, he's managed to get the cloth and the Ruby Crystal, but I mean, he started off with the cloth armor, so it's not going to be a massive lead here. So, although, as I say that, Bin takes a terrible trade in the top side. This, I'd actually maybe look for Hacker to roam up towards the top, but looks like he's more interested in trying to get a scuttle for himself.
I think this is actually kind of intelligent from Bin, right? He's forcing ZS to use all of his cooldowns, and it's fine to take a bad trade because you're about to recall. You're just desperate to crash this wave. It means that he will be able to get his own recall off, will be able to TP back into the lane. So Bin, using health as a resource, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, just had to be careful in case Hacker was in the area. Like a flash stun from either ZS or Hacker would have been bad news bears. So, or well, excuse the pun for Bin. Now though, bot side actually decent training going on, but I want to keep an eye on like how SofM is going to be able to push forward here, because he's actually gone for the early Dark Seal here, which says to me, especially with the Dark Harvest, he wants to be getting invested in these lanes, because you want to start proccing that Dark Harvest early, and certainly with a Dark Seal, says to me that he's trying to angle for these ganks.
I love how SofM just... he's a man of his own, you know. The Dark Seal is the first recall on Rumble. Go with the Dark Harvest as well. Probably a Night Harvester as well, you'd expect, which is not unusual by any stretch in the LPL. But I just love watching SofM. I love seeing the different builds that he comes out with, because, I mean, if you guys remember his Kane from last split, where it was all about vision control, with an Umbral Glaive as his first item, and all of these kinds of shenanigans. It's always
Redemption
so
Olaf was his. He was the guy who came up with that, so.
Warmogs on literally every champion ever.
I actually saw Dom, shout out to Dom who's doing the co-streaming. He was mauling at the fact that he had it on Udyr. It was very funny to watch. But yeah, we'll have to see anyway what the style of him is going to be in this game, because Hacker right now just getting in vision onto this top side, trying to clear out vision control again in River, and we kind of touched on, hey look, I wanted to see Hacker getting a bit more involved, see him trying to turn these lanes in his favor, but honestly with bot being the way that it is, it feels like ZS and top is the only real lane that he can have an impact, and it's against the Camille. Camille is so good at avoiding these ganks thanks to the hook shot.
Yep, Camille, one of those very slippery champions, as SofM is in the brush, and ZS is going to come check this one, has his ultimate, drops a ward. Hacker is around though. SofM might be overstaying here. Does need to be cautious. As the Sky Splitter comes down, SofM will be able to control vision in the brush, and he will return to his own jungle. His camps are now spawning, so he can go back to the full clear. That is just the way junglers plays these days.
Yeah, Hacker sticking around in the top lane just in case any sort of dive shenanigans were going to come through from Suning, but Angel not actually roaming up towards top, instead going to see if he can get some control on bot side. So looks like SofM and Suning might be looking to try and pick up Dragon in the next little while, although with Hacker having the faster reset, could actually be a Ultra Prime pickup here.
Yep, certainly could be. Is the crab going to die? Yes, it is. SofM, he's got his calculator out. He's figured it out. He knows the maths. As ZS could be in big trouble. SofM, not level 6 just yet. Oh, he gets the XP off of the minions that the bin is just clearing. Oh my god, it's so 5-head. He knew that the caster minions would level him up. Dagda, that's insane.
That was so well done by SofM. I mean, look, he didn't even have to go into the tower. He was just like, cool, I'm going to pop this here, start the recall. Bin, you got this. And this is what we wanted to see from Suning. Like, in a game that is this slow-paced, Suning are actually able to go and make these plays top lane. They can play through Bin, and this is a composition that is set up to play through Bin. This is what I want Suning to play more of.
It's beautiful to see. And SofM, we talked about his early Dark Seal, his early Dark Harvest, or early Dark Harvest. He's going to have that all game, actually. But he's set up for success here. He's building a snowball build, and he's starting that snowball early. So good news for the side of Suning in terms of their jungler and in terms of Bin having an advantage in the top lane as well, because look at the goal difference between the top laners right now. It's 600 in favor of Bin off the back of obviously getting the plate, getting the assist on the kill, but also having that minion advantage and on up to make sure SofM is safe on his Raptors here. Drake going to be up. Oh, Drake is already up, sorry, but doesn't look like either of the junglers are remotely interested in Drake this game.
No, I mean, it's fairly focused around top side, because for me, looking at this game, right, you've got Suning, who are heavily reliant on Bin getting ahead, both as a kind of a split push pressure, but also just to get to a point where he's a bit of a menace in team fights. Like right now, not so much, which is why Suning really needs to back away from this Rift Herald, although, as I say that,
bit of a fight here. In goes Irma, just gets destroyed. And look at this Angel on the Sett. It's just taken up apart here. Beautiful little fight. 2 more kills go the way of Suning. As easy as you like.
I didn't expect Irma to just kind of stand like a deer in headlights. It felt like he had flash and could have just walked away from that. But all right, I suppose Angel just jumps in on top of him, gets the everything that you want, and Suning can in fact get the Rift Herald. So forget everything I said. And for me though, I think SofM, you just turn this straight into topside. Not straight off the bat here, but give these plates to the Camille, get her that Divine Sunder. But you can see here, like Irma, I mean, he has flash. He could try to move away. Honestly, I think flashing up and then putting down the gravity field at the opening to the tri-bush here could have netted a much better position, but either way, doesn't work out. Suning now find themselves with a bit of a gold lead. They want to get Bin snowballing, have him be this threat, so then you get the dive in towards the Rumble ultimate over the top, Angel being able to follow up and have this 3-man goon squad from the top side of the map. Because if you don't, Ultra Prime do have quite a bit of range on their side with the poke that Smlz can offer, same with Irma. Although you can offer a little bit back from Huanfeng, it's not quite enough. And with the zone control between the Viktor and the Varus, you need a little bit of damage here to amplify it.
I love how SofM just slams the equalizer in the exact same spot again. He's like, you know what, ZS, you know what's up. I'm just going to hit you with some damage here. Hacker's on the top side as well, and that should deter SofM here. Should have to back away from this one, and Bin realizes it too, as Irma is toying with the idea of moving up towards the top side. But check out Angel on the minimap. He's moving down. Looks like he's going to clear vision rather than try and make a play on the bot lane.
I mean, this bot lane has just been completely ignored. And Smlz and ShiauC have actually been doing a good job of getting a lead there. You can see basically a 10 CS lead picked up for themselves. They're starting to get some chip damage on the bottom tower. Now, it is obviously being answered by Suning topside, but at least it is a win for Ultra Prime, as not so much has been going their way when you look towards that top half of the map.
Yeah, there are some immortal words from Clement. Don't call me Clement. Choo, choo, choo. And what he said to me was that, you know, when he was coaching, he would often think about things like CS leads and how valuable they actually were. And it was very rare that a 20 CS lead in one lane would significantly impact the game. And I think that we always talk about CS leads, or like 10, 20 CS leads, and we always, you know, talk about how it's a significant advantage, but it doesn't feel like it's enough compared to what SofM, Bin, and Angel are bringing on the top half of the map here, as Spartan 117 in the mid lane, Angel with 117 CS already, is looking to destroy things. SofM slams the Herald up top as well. Bin will be able to get all of this lovely gold from the first tower of the game going down, and already we have a 2,000 gold lead in favor of Suning. We said the early game was the issue for Suning. It feels like they might have fixed some of those issues.
Yeah, there's only been 2 games thus far out of the 6 that Suning have played that they've been ahead of the 15-minute mark. And one of those games was by like 150 gold. It was nothing to write home about. This is a much stronger early game, and I feel like the composition has kind of screamed exactly what they need to do. And I think that's why we're seeing Suning having a much stronger early pace of the game. Is like, hey look, Huanfeng and on, just don't do anything. You just sit there, you farm, that's the goal of it. We're going to fully invest on this top side of the map and put money into Bin, who honestly has been one of the strongest players on Suning, especially for this early to mid game.
And I do feel a little bit like there is no pressure coming out from up. It feels like they're responding a little bit to the plays coming out from Suning, but there is not a whole lot that's going on that up are leading the charge on. Yes, they got the Drake earlier on. Yes, they somewhat contested the Herald, but it does feel like they're playing very reactionary as opposed to trying to enact win conditions themselves. And generally speaking in the LPL, not usually the winning strategy. And
even for Ultra Prime, it hasn't been the winning strategy either. Like, this is a team that really does you know, pride itself on being able to get these early advantages and run with it. A lot of that stemming from Hacker, and when they've looked best, it's like playing through Smlz in the bottom lane, getting him up and running. Even playing through ZS in the top side and making sure that he's set up for success, and then transitioning that into teleport plays boss, a dragon. It's not what we're seeing here. And for Suning, that's great news, because, I mean, look, you've already nearly got your Ravenous Hydra completed for Bin. He's actually looking for a dive potentially here to Irma, who is very exposed under this mid lane turret.
Just got taken here, yeah. Don't think the dive is going to come through. Bin decides he has to go back up towards that top lane instead. Divine Sunderer finished off by 2 of our players on Suning already, in the Ezreal and the Camille. And it's going to be a Hydra alongside it, or at least a Tiamat for now, alongside it from Bin, who he can quite happily forego the boots on Camille. You can just look towards your second item straight away because you have so much mobility. By default, you really don't need to upgrade the boots unless you're under significant threat, which, let's be honest, Bin hasn't been under threat for 14 minutes and 8 seconds now, so he's quite happy to go without that arm.
But the next 3 seconds he might be.
Let's see, he does have his E, so he might just be completely fine. In fact, not even going to use the E.
It lasted about 3 seconds.
Wanders away. It looks like his little brown paper bags that he's got for shoes are going to be okay. 640 gold coming out there. SofM, are you okay, buddy? Not the greatest equalizer I've ever seen in my life.
There was some weeds. There was just some weeds in the ground. Just needed to exterminate them, you know. They're really, really pesky.
SofM.
I have actually been chatting. Oh, hang on.
Hang on, Hacker's going in. SofM's in trouble. TP's being channeled here as well. There's no equalizer. SofM has no answer to this one. And he just gets chased down in the river. I'm not entirely sure what's going on anymore, Dagda. As ShiauC steps up, gets a chair to the face from On. Or in fact, that's the Santa one. So it wasn't a chair. It was, I guess, a fireplace. I'm not even sure.
Oh, yeah. The Santa Braum is a fireplace. It's great. But yeah, I mean, look... That was a very aggressive play from SofM trying to invade in onto there. Not sure what the idea was behind the equalizer that we're going to see in a second. Like, Hackers just able to turn this around so easy. And you can see ShiauC, he's already moved up here as well. You've got Irma, who has full mid control as well. Like, I mean, that was just strange from SofM.
It's just dumb, honestly. Like, you had no priority mid. You didn't have any reinforcements. Here, why are you trying to... I'm done being PC while Suning are losing like this every game. Like, come on, guys. You're better than this. Like, we know SofM. This is a world's finalist team. Okay, here we go. Time to make the plays. Bin is taking things into his own hands, but he's not going to go straight in. Just gets almost one shot there. Huanfeng jumping forwards, knock up onto ShiauC. The stun will follow up as the True Shot Barrage. Only going to hit the top Kench. That is some damage coming out from Bin. My goodness. And this should be Dragon just about secured now by Suning.
Divine Sunderer hurts, and when you attach it to the Shogat ult that Bin has on his Q, it really does take some damage off. So, Ultra Prime feeling the worst of that. Now Suning turn over towards the Dragon. ZS is getting some control on the top side of the map. He's getting a bit of that terror for himself, but not having that TP there really hurt Ultra Prime in that situation.
Yeah, it really did. And you know, ZS, he'll deny Bin one wave of minions, so we'll call that a small win, I guess. As Bin will be able to get himself a Scuttle Crab that is a higher value than the entire wave. In fact, he only lost 2 minions, so Bin literally gets to have his cake and eat it. Wonderful news for our Camille player up at the top side. He's finished Lucidity boots for himself. He's going towards a Ravenous Hydra once he recalls. I'm sure we'll be able to finish that one off. It does feel, Dagda, like literally everything is going the way of Suning right now. Even that bot lane CS lead, it's like, yeah, sure, 20, 25 CS, they'll be able to finish this tower off. When you look at the items, there isn't a noticeable difference in the AD carries right now. And,
but it's also just...
Smlz. Oh no, he whiffed the ult as well. Angel's just going to 1v1 and wait for the W. Let's see if he can hit it. On it's over the wall as well. ShiauC trying to save the Varus, and immediately 2 wards go over that wall. Smlz flashes, and Angel chases him down. Smlz overextends. It costs him both summoners and then his life. And ShiauC is going to be stuck here as well. The shield comes out, but it's not going to do anything. And they can even gift the kill over to Huanfeng.
Why do you need a third person? You don't need a third person.
Oh my goodness.
That's just unnecessary.
This is just getting silly now, Dagda. We're 18 minutes into the game, and it just feels like Ultra Prime don't know what's going on.
They just aren't a factor in this game at all. I mean, you're able to commit 3 members of Suning to the bottom side for about a 30-second play, if not more. And Ultra Prime don't do anything else on the map. They have no control over the map, no control over the game. And I mean, 3 minutes until next dragon spawns, but honestly, you've already got the Rift Child in the back pocket of SofM. He cracks open mid turret. They're already working on that bottom lane turret as well with Angel in position. It feels like Ultra Prime just never got up and rolling in this game.
I've discovered what UP stands for. It's not Ultra Prime. It's not unlimited potential. It's underperforming. That's what it really stands for. Bit of a rough one here for Ultra Prime, it has to be said. And Dagda, I want to ask, right? So looking at this composition, is there a point at which suddenly everything is just going to click and Ultra Prime can become teamfight monsters or something? Because right now I'm not really seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there is a point where Irma can get to that's just, hey, look, I'm really damn strong. Where you can... Oh, hang on, ShiauC?
He actually might be dead here. I thought he was going to get away with this. He doesn't even get to use his shield. Look at the equalizer. SMLZ almost gets 100 to 0. That was mental damage coming out from SofM. They all just get sent back to the base, and Suning continue to control absolutely everything on the map.
It's ridiculous. I mean, look, I was going to say Irma at some point is going to do Viktor things, right? You will get to a point where Viktor is just an insane late game mage. That's so far away. I mean, you're one item in, and look at Bin's items. Like, he one-shots essentially everyone SMLZ goes back to the base. One-shots everyone
good effort,
on
good effort.
Ultra Prime right now. Apart from maybe ZS, but you can even see ZS. That's the second time now he's kind of watched Bin while he's waiting in a bush going, trying to psych himself up, realizing he's got nothing that he can do, and he's just got to back away. Like, this game is so far out of control, it's not even funny.
Yeah, this one's, I'm not gonna lie, Dagda, this was a little bit tragic to watch from Ultra Prime. The thing is, this is a roster I was really excited for at the start of this split. I was thinking, hey, maybe it can work out. Like, I saw the roster before the games, and I was like, no, nothing's gonna happen here. This isn't gonna be a good roster. This isn't gonna work. I wasn't convinced by SMLZ. I thought ShiauC has been having rougher and rougher splits as it goes on. Irma as well is a bit of a, middling player. He's never gonna be this crazy player that can carry the game for you. So there was nothing about this team that really stood out to me. And then they had a couple of games early on where it was like, oh my god, they've taken a game against FPX. Maybe this is a real roster. Maybe this is a roster that can contend. And then we are smacked in the face by reality as they face Suning and just literally watch the world crumble around them.
But honestly, I want to see ShiauC back in this team. I actually think he provides a little bit more pressure from the mid lane, works better with Hacker as well, and is a little bit more willing to roam, especially down towards the bottom side of the map. And we already said, like, hey, look, SMLZ is like a large portion of the damage for this squad, at least from what we can see thus far. So I think having someone that's willing to work down towards that bottom lane does a hell of a lot more. But Irma, unfortunately for me, like, I can understand he can play like the sets and these kind of things a bit better, but hasn't really had the same impact that we were hoping.
There we go, a bit of a team fight is up. Desperately try and make their way into the river. SofM is going to ignore everything and continue with the Drake. Angel moving up to help him out with that one. It does feel like with a 7,000 gold lead, Suning would be a massive favorite if a fight does break out and they're in a perfect channel for an equalizer to just burn everyone to a crisp. Huanfeng can just chase this one up with the true shot barrage across 3. It's the dragon guaranteed, and Bin completely fumbles his hookshot flash. SMLZ will still inevitably go down, or will he? Tahm Kench exists. Maybe they can get over the wall and save this one. ShiauC going to be pinned in the Hextech ultimatum, and Huanfeng looking for a little bit more. Irma's there. Good damage out onto the AD carry, and he's forced the flash. But ultimately, Suning get the Drake, and they can maybe even get a bot tier 2.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not much really to write home about here for Ultra Prime. They end up walking in to try and contest the Dragon. As he said, Munch, like 7,000 gold lead before the fight kicks off. A whole heap of these big item spikes coming in, especially with the 2-item Ezreal now completed, Angel having the Strikebreaker and the Sterix. Like, that was just not the fight to try and take, but it doesn't feel like any of them are anymore. Like, if Ultra Prime just don't have it, and you're going to see it here where Yes, they get on to our hacker tries to move in here to get some vision control. He's already completely out of the equation before the fight even really kicks off. And then Suning just ignore any of these choke points. Huanfeng comes over the wall, Bin as well. Close your eyes, everyone. No one saw us. And then they're still able to get on towards Smlz here because Angel's flanking anyway. So, honestly, like, whatever about some of the misplays in the fight, Suning, this is in the bag.
Yeah, this one might just be a done deal, honestly, as On just dives in. Saw an opportunity to take some harass there. Couldn't miss out on that golden window. I am being a little cynical now in this game. Just a little bit. I do want to ask you,
we got
Dagda.
spoiled. We are spoiled children. We got spoiled in our first series today. And
for anyone that
we
missed
come in
it, by
here
the
and
way,
we're just ungrateful, you know?
For anyone that missed it, RNG versus OMG. On the fixtures, it doesn't look like that big of a game, right? Absolute banger of a series. Go back and watch the VODs if you missed it. Obviously, after LPL's finished. Keep watching us for now, but insane series. If you missed it, go watch the highlights. Go watch the VODs. It really was something special. But I've got a conversation for you, Dagda, because I feel like this game is, let's be honest, pretty much over, unless Suning mess up big time. What do you reckon is the biggest 2-item spike in the game? Because I think Ankle Breaker plus Sterix is definitely a contender. I think Divine Sunderer Sterix is also up there for certain champions. What do you reckon? Because also like things like Ludens plus Event Horizon on a Zoe is a massive spike. Or Horizon.
I think Divine Sunderer Sterix is probably it. Like, obviously it depends on the champion, it depends on a whole bunch of other stuff, but like it feels like Divine Sunderer right now is so incredibly strong. And then when you add in the fact that, hey, look, you just get this massive shield that synergizes with, hey, I'm going to get a bunch of lifesteal off of Divine Sunder, and just the raw 15% or 14% damage that the Sheen proc does on it, it's a little bit insane. And when you can build it on like Camille's, Diego's, like all these other champions, like it just is kind of a bit ridiculous.
It's kind of disgusting. I do feel like Sterix is a big part of this conversation. Whichever item you end up pairing it with, Sterix feels real strong right now. And I think it kind of facilitates a lot of these other builds. Let us know what you guys at home think as well. Get involved. Tell us in Twitch chat. Tell us on Twitter. However you guys want to communicate. Let us know, because I'm curious what other people think about this one, because obviously we watch a lot of competitive, but there's inevitably some really obnoxious item pairings that you can just demolish solo queue with.
As a support main, I think it's like Shirelia's Reverie and Redemption. I think just those two.
You've had
the
two
mana
items
regen,
as a support?
rare time.
I didn't know that was possible.
The reason it's the strongest combination, it means that I'm fed as all hell, and we're going to win the game regardless of what I do.
It's a strong combination because it means the rest of your team has more items.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Well, Suning very much dotting the I's and crossing the T's in this one as their 5 towers up to 1. It's an almost 10,000 gold lead now. And a Drake coming up in 40 seconds. Inevitably, you can see the resets coming on through. Huanfeng looks like he's going to reset in the mid lane here as well before the Drake comes up so they can contest. Or in fact, might even sneak over and grab himself a cheeky little blue buff. Not too shabby for a cheeky AD carry. When you've got a manaless mid laner, feels pretty nice for the Ezreal player.
And even a manaless jungler. I mean, it's all coming up trumps for Huanfeng in this game. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be slinging those mystic shots all over the place. It really is. Look, I know you're getting jealous, Munch, but you're still not getting the blue buff whenever I play.
Well, that's what you think, sir. That's what you think. We'll see when we get onto the Rift, because True Shot Barrage exists, as you've just seen, and it's real good at stealing buffs. Well, Dragon will go the way of Suning. And I do feel like this is kind of like... I feel like I'm at a museum right now. You know when you're kind of wandering around an art museum and you've been brought there by your girlfriend or something. You're not really that interested, but you're kind of going along because you know that they're really interested in it. And you're kind of just perusing. I feel like that's this game right now, because the conclusion feels fairly foregone at this point. It doesn't feel like there's much of a comeback mechanic available for Up, unless they manage to steal an Elder or something. But if we get to that point, Suning have failed dramatically that we got to Elder being in this game, right? This should be over long before Elder comes out. So I feel like we're kind of just perusing, having a chat, kind of just...
You're looking for the odyssey. There's going to be like one thing every so often that's going to tickle your fancy, and maybe it could be this fight as Hacker going very far forward.
Oh, the Mona Lisa of equalizers comes on in, and a Starry Night from Bin as Angel up on the top side. I've run out of names of paintings already. The Sunflowers, I think, is one, or something. What's that one by Van Gogh?
What's the Scream? The Ghoul? The Scream? The Ghoul? I don't know which one it is.
Scream, yeah, that's one. Yeah, I'm out.
The
I'm out.
two farmers stand outside with a pitchfork.
Band.
Don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But either way...
yeah, that is a painting.
Yeah. I mean, it was an attempted engage.
Look, we play video games, guys. We play video games. We don't do art. Don't come asking me about art. I mean, I don't know why I brought it up in the first place. I don't know what I was thinking. Here we go. Baron started off by Suning. This one is surely just going to be theirs without contest. Hacker here looking for the magical steal. He has his flash. Can he do the impossible? There are 19 wards inside the Baron pit, and Suning are just going to start the fight instead. Angel on the backline is completely invincible. The equalizer once again onto Smlz. Suning are getting fairly low though in this one. Maybe Smlz can clean things up, but no. Bin has jumped onto the backline and absolutely two-shot him. Irma still going strong on this one. Bin finally falls. They've got a kill, ladies and gentlemen. Ultra Prime finished one player off on Suning. They turned it into two. It's unbelievable.
2 kills picked up for Ultra Prime. Honestly, fair shout to Irma there. He did a lot of work in that team fight. Made it a lot closer than I think most of us were expecting, but still... Suning are going to be able to turn towards this Baron. Huanfeng going to be able to do a lot of damage to it with the Divine Sunder. You've already got the Dark Harvest and Night Harvester for SofM. So Baron will go the way of Suning. And even though the fight a little bit shaky, you still got that 11k gold lead here for Suning.
Yeah. 13 kills. There's a Baron as well. 2.5 minutes until the next Drake if they want to go for that soul. But realistically... I feel like with a Camille that is as strong as Bin currently is, with a Baron buff across your team, you should have the pressure to be able to just close out the game now. We've got this blue build coming out from Huanfeng that he is just monstrously huge. Remember that CS lead we were talking about an hour ago in this game? That is long gone in that bottom lane as Smlz has fallen way behind.
Yeah, but look, you can see here, this was kind of the close corridors that are in this jungle are actually really good for Irma. So Irma's in great position. He's hitting multiple people with the Chaos Storm and also the lasers. He's doing quite a bit of damage here and able to finish off Bin and one more before he goes down. So I think definitely fair shouts to Irma in this fight. We are saying, hey, look, if anyone's going to carry this, it would be Irma. It's just unfortunate with how far behind they are that there's just nothing left in the tank to actually close that one out.
Yeah, it's just a shame that you waited 30 minutes to do literally anything this game. But that is the nature of playing Viktor. So it is what it is. Here we go. Equalizer onto the carries once again. Irma is just kicked out of the map. Smlz trying to play hide and seek off on the side. But that is going to be the mid tower taken already. You can see Bin already pressuring the bottom side. And the rest of Suning can start to move over. ZS, you got to get out of there, my man. Because I'm not sure that this is a dive you'll survive if the rest of Suning comes and commits to this one. But Upper here first, actually. Now on is playing body block, trying to stop Hacker from getting onto his carries. SofM, no equalizer right now, so maybe Suning can't fight for the time being.
You say that, but
then again,
we're going to get it anyway.
Yeah, maybe they can fight for the time being. As Angel goes into the middle of everyone, pulls some Bin, a haymaker across the team as well. And Bin, it's time to dive this one. Uses a stopwatch to dodge away from the aggro. Irma goes down. Smlz slowed by the equalizer and almost all of his health burnt away as Bin wants a little bit more. Hacker trying to get into his base. But not even your base is safe at this point in the game because it's being taken apart as we speak. The minions burnt to a crisp. And the Nexus towers will fall. It took them 32 minutes, Dagda, but Suning have managed to get themselves on the scoreboard here with a 1-0 lead over Up.
And done in a pretty dominating fashion as well. I mean, a lot of early game control coming out from them, which we were kind of saying we were lacking quite a bit, but SofM and Bin working very well together to set up Bin in this top side, and then transition that into just dominating this mid game. It never really felt like Ultra Prime got a look in.
Yeah, definitely feels like a good win here, a good controlled win for Suning. And, you know, in the grand scheme of things, moving forward in the split, whether or not this one is that big of a confidence builder for Suning is a different question, but at least they're looking clean, right? They're not looking like they're making silly mistakes. It didn't look like they were getting too carried away, aside from the one invade from SofM, which was just mind-boggling. But aside from that one play, it did feel like Suning were very clean, very coordinated. I feel like they could have been even more aggressive if they wanted to, but I'd rather that they play it clean to start the split and improve over time than just go too gung-ho and end up losing games for nothing, basically. So I'd say this is a comfortable win.
Right? Suning have never been that crazy aggressive where they finish games super fast. They always have been a very slow-paced team where they do rely on like team fights and kind of baiting you into objectives where they can then just use the gold lead to swatch it back, and that's very much what we got here as well. So not overly surprised to see a bit of a slower game, but I think coming into game 2, things have got to change for Ultra Prime, because you kind of talked about at the start of the game, Munch, where they went for this pretty late game scaling option, especially in the mid lane, and we get the Viktor. You had to wait a little bit of time before the Varus came online, and it felt like because of it, there just wasn't really a lane that you were able to play around here as Hacker, and even ZS was kind of getting done dirty by the duo of SofM and Bane on the top side, so he didn't get to do very much either.
Yep, feels like honestly sheer destruction from the side of Suning. It was slow and methodical. It felt like they had up in a torture chamber and they were trying to extract every bit of information before they finished them off, because they certainly weren't rushing anything, that is for sure. A clean victory here for Suning, and you know, Ultra Prime still a lot to work on. I think it's fair to say still a long way to go before this team is going to be contending for a higher spot in the standings, and I have to say I'm a bit disappointed, Dagda. I was hoping for a bit more from this roster. Maybe we get to see the cog more in game number 2. Maybe they bring out a composition like that and make it a bit more entertaining. But this composition, this way of playing, it just feels like an old meta that doesn't work anymore. It feels like it's being outpaced, and it feels like Viktor doesn't have the same carry potential that he had earlier on in the year.
Yeah, especially like even looking towards the regular picks that we're seeing, like Silas's, Rise, and LeBlanc's even coming into the meta, like something like that where you can actually have a little bit more. Now I know a lot of these picks don't actually work in towards the likes of the Sett. I know we had the Rise banned away, but still keeping that flexibility open, I think, and moving away from some of these picks could have been a lot stronger coming in here for Ultra Prime. But look, we'll have to see what they do in game number 2. But that is a convincing goal graph if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, a fairly convincing goal graph, it has to be said. Nice little mountain there. Huanfeng obviously topping the damage on this Ezreal as well. Really convincing stuff coming out from Suning, and a bit of a disappointing game here from Ultra Prime. So we'll have to see if they can look better across the course of the series. I'm hoping for game 2, we get to see a bit of a shake-up from Ultra Prime. We get to see them coming in looking a lot stronger, looking towards the second game in this series, and maybe they could turn things around. We'll have to wait and see. Suning's early game has certainly been their weakest point.